Sahil, what's the latest? Are we going to get a vote tomorrow, or what do you make of that?
Joe, it's unclear there's going to be a vote tomorrow. What we know is that the Republican leadership's plans to have a vote today, which they've been planning for at least a week or two, are canceled. There's going to be no vote today. Negotiations are continuing between the White House and the Freedom Caucus. They're speaking directly to each other. Republican leadership had essentially decided that the president would be more likely to bring some of these hesitant, wary, right-wing Republicans on board. Their constituents tend to like him and tend to want to be on his page more than they tend to want to be on the page of Republican leadership here in Congress. So if anyone's going to bring them on board, theoretically, it's going to be him. So far, there's no deal. We don't know when the vote is going to be, and once they do pass it out of here, it still faces some obstacles in the Senate, so they have a long road to go at this point.
Absolutely, and as we just mentioned, the latest headlines from Representative Meadows is that they're trying to get another 30 to 40 votes to turn to yes. If that's the case, how does that line up with some of the numbers that we were hearing earlier? Do we have any sense of whether there's been a lot of movement to even get to this 30 to 40 votes that they're trying to turn into a yes?
Scarlett, what they're trying to do is that they're trying to get the White House and, by extension, Republican leadership to agree to repeal some of the regulations in the Affordable Care Act as part of this repeal and replace effort. Now, that's going to be difficult because, number one, once you do that, you lose some moderates on the other side, right? House Republicans who are from swing districts, from moderate districts, this is not a symbolic vote for them. They have to go home and explain it to their constituents. So the high-wire act that they're running right now is that if you do move to the right, if you do repeal these regulations, get the conservatives on board, how many moderates do you lose? So if they don't start to bleed moderates, that they can hold the center and they can win some people in the House Freedom Caucus and some conservatives who are on the fence or opposed right now, that's the way to get it through the House. But again, it's a high wire act. It's very difficult to do. And at this moment, things are a bit tenuous. The only thing they have going for them is that Republicans have consistently campaigned for the last 7 years on repeal and replace. They theoretically all want to get to yes. It's just proving a lot harder than they realized.
Sahil, you talked about the challenge of appeasing the Freedom Caucus while not losing the moderates. How many moderates are there really? How many are thought to be, theoretically would go the other way if they started chipping away too much at these protections?
Joe, there's a caucus here known as the Tuesday Group, which has something like 40 to 50 members. Not everyone's name is known. Those are the members who have at least somewhat of a competitive battle in elections, at least that their districts are not Republican plus 10, Republican plus 20, where they don't have slam dunk elections where they only have to worry about a primary challenger. Most Republicans only really have to worry about a primary challenger. Beyond that, there are a number of Republicans in the House who had changed their stripes a bit. When the base moved to the right during the Obama years, they moved with the base. So I think a lot of this is where the energy is in the party. A lot of this, I think, will come down to where President Trump is. A lot of these moderates in the center, they're not rabble-rousers. They don't like to kick up a storm. They don't like to draw attention to themselves. But if they get to a place where, they can't defend a vote and something is going to become law and affect their constituents adversely, that's when things become difficult for them. And healthcare is the perfect example of that because there's nothing more personal to people.